Hello, Tracy Cornwell. My name is Peter Greenlaw. We're live. I'm the author of 4 best-selling books, including this book, Why Diets Are Failing Us. That's what we're going to discuss today. I want to work out, but that's a wonderful name. Hello, Philip. Hello, Raymond. Hello, Marilyn. My name is Peter Greenlaw. I'm the author of 4 best-selling books, including this book, Why Diets Are Failing Us, which is what we're going to discuss today. I'm going to give you only medical proof. I don't give you opinions. Opinions shouldn't mean anything to you. They don't mean anything to me. Everything we're going to share with you is original research, over 21 years of research in these 4 best-selling books. Here's the stark reality. 80% of Americans are overweight, 50% are obese, 50% are pre-diabetic. Do any of you think that diets work? I'm going to share with you, again, the research, 7 new peer-reviewed human trial studies. This will sound crazy. They'll change everything you ever thought about diet, exercise, and nutrition. In these 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies, the first one's ever done on a revolutionary new way to lose weight, men and women with no exercise lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet any of you have ever been on. They lost as much weight in 30 days as people lost in a year, and before you think it's unhealthy to lose that much weight that fast on a diet it would be. But in this case, they lost no water weight, and instead of losing lean muscle, which I'll show you on every diet out there, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. It's not a diet. It's not about counting calories. The people who did these are 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies. You can't go higher than that in medical research. It's in the same category as a drug. No drug ever gets approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. So you have an unbelievable opportunity today to learn why diets are failing us and what you can do about it. Or not. You don't have to do anything, okay? But our whole goal with the new health conversation, and I'm going to put it up for all of you. It's a free medical website that you can all go to with the, you can see right there, the new health conversation, no spaces. What's on there is the medical proof of the 7 peer-reviewed studies, an interview with the #1 nutrition researcher in the world, not me, but the person who did the studies. It will shock you. You will learn in this podcast today that they basically figured out probably the world's most perfect food as part of what they did. Remember, they'd done 38 years of research, over 150 studies on all kinds of diets. And they'd been looking and looking and looking for the silver bullet for weight loss, and they found it. Can you even wrap your head around the fact that you could safely lose as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet, lose as much weight in a month as a year in any diet, and gain lean muscle mass? The other thing in the studies, in a peer-reviewed human trial study, they take a long time. So when the studies were first initiated and they have the data on that, it's now been more than 2 years, and the people on this protocol have maintained the weight they lost. So they didn't gain it back. That has been the problem in every diet out there. Some of you have experienced the yo-yo effect, where you lose the weight and you gain it all back. And here's why. The whole concept of diets is upside down, okay? We wrote about it, but let me tell you what Harvard Medical School is saying about counting calories. The title is Stop, this is Harvard Medical School, Stop Counting Calories. The idea of a calorie in, a calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong. They say we need to re-emphasize and change the way we're approaching diets, and that is by concentrating on what's in the calorie, not how many calories we're consuming. There's your downfall on any diet. A diet is deprivation. But where they miss it is, do you know that your body doesn't know what a calorie is, doesn't count calories, doesn't care about calories? You know what it cares about? Nutrition. So when you go on a diet, think about it. What are you doing? You're lowering the amount of food, but you're lowering nutrition at the same time. When your body figures out there's not enough nutrition, it triggers the starvation mode. And in starvation mode, you can't burn fat, but the body still needs fuel to operate. Where does it get it? It starts in our muscles. It breaks our muscles down, converting them into carbohydrates for fuel. But it's so inefficient. 2 of the most unhealthy things happen to you. Number 1, because you're losing lean muscle mass, your body doesn't have a choice. It slows down your metabolism. But the second thing it does, it's even more scary, is it also interferes with your own immune system. So yeah, you may fit in your skinny jeans and congratulations, but is your diet doing something for you, or is your diet doing something to you? The clinical evidence that we state and have found, it's doing something to us in a really bad way. How in the world could you have 80% of America overweight, 50% obese, and 50% are pre-diabetic? But listen to this alarming study predicts obesity apocalypse. Study predicts obesity apocalypse. This is from ABC News. Listen to this. The results of the study show clearly how the future situation might become if current trends continue. Wang, who did the study. Wang says that the increase in metabolic disease and other weight-related conditions could have a catastrophic toll on public health and on public pocket. If these predictions come to bear, Wang and his colleagues estimate that the additional overweight and obesity burden could add up to 860 to 960 billion a year. They are projecting that by 2048, nearly 100% of America is going to be overweight. Right here, ABC News. I mean, what are we doing? What are you doing? You realize that in this book, Why Diets Are Failing Us, one of four, we also wrote, I'm going to talk about them all in a moment, the TDOS syndrome, the TDOS solutions, and Your Third Brain, which isn't a trick title, right? So we're researchers. We're not in this to convince you or sell you, etc. Okay, the website is designed to give you the medical proof of what they did in these 7 peer-reviewed studies. That's totally different. It's not a diet. It has nothing to do with dieting. But aren't you a little bit curious? And I'm going to explain it to you in just a moment. What did they do? How in the world could people lose as much weight safely in 7 days as in 8 weeks of diets? How could they lose as much weight in a month as a year in any diet, lose no water weight, and instead of losing lean muscle, actually gaining lean muscle mass? Walter, you're so full of it, Walter. It's not even worth talking about, okay? I mean, the bottom line is, Walter, lying about what? Show me one thing I'm lying about, Walter. You don't have one shred of medical evidence. You're just coming on here to be an irritant, okay? I'm quoting from peer-reviewed human trial studies, 7 of them. There's nothing bigger on the planet, okay? Have you written any books? Have you been 20 times on PBS? Have you done 1,500 lectures around the world? Have you been interviewed on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America? I doubt it. So unless you can present some evidence to back up this preposterous, what you're saying, then why don't you go watch golf or something, okay? We don't need you on here harassing us. The one thing I pride myself on is I'm a researcher of the researchers. Nothing I share with people is not based on medical evidence. So when you say lying, take a long walk in the woods and whistle, okay? But for the rest of you, what we're talking about is 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies. There's absolutely nothing higher in medicine than a peer-reviewed human trial study. So nothing we share with you is an opinion. Nothing we share with you is not backed by medical science. What's not backed by medical science are all these influences, people that come on and give you opinions about things where there's absolutely no medical proof whatsoever of any of these diets working by lowering calories. As a matter of fact, I read to you not just from the New England Journal of Medicine, but now look at a New England Journal of Medicine, a 12-month study on lowering calories versus time-restricted eating. By lowering calories in a year, this is 12 months, people lost 16 pounds. By going on time-restricted eating, they lost 12.6 pounds in a year. But right in the study, it says both the time-restricted eating and those doing calorie restriction lost up to 40% of their lean muscle. That's your problem. On every one of these diets, that's what's going on. On every single diet, the only thing, well, you're losing up to 40% of your lean muscle. And as I explained to you before, when that happens, your body slows down metabolism, you can't burn as many calories, you come off the diet, you gain everything back. The second part of it is you also limit your own immune system. Now, the researchers, here's how they came upon this. This was revolutionary, a completely new approach. But after 38 years and 150 studies, okay, they've determined that any form of dieting where you were lowering the quantity of food people were consuming, you were lowering the nutrition so much that it triggered the starvation mode, and that's why people's metabolism slowed down, okay? So what happened in the long run was they said, wait a minute, what if we can come up with a system, or the theory was, yes, it was possible to lower the quantity of the food people consuming, but could we maintain, there's a certain level in your body of nutrition. You have to have it. And that's the minimum amount that will run your brain, your kidney, your liver, your heart, and your muscles. You drop below that amount, it triggers a starvation mode. So what did they do? They said, okay, in the past, when they put people on diets, that 100% of their food, they were doing organic, whatever it was. That's what the people were consuming. So they said, that's not adequate because the food in North America is becoming more and more and more nutritionally deficient. Okay, in my second book, which was a huge bestseller, the TDOS syndrome. Again, this is a registered medical syndrome, U.S. Patent Office. Okay, you don't get a registered trademark if you're lying. Okay, it's very expensive. It takes a really long time. This is recognized as a medical condition, right? A medical syndrome. Sorry, toxicity driven by nutritional deficiency. Exactly the point, causing you to be overweight and stressed. And I'll show you the medical proof on that in just a few minutes. Okay. So the deficiency in our food is really a lack of one of the most important things that are called trace ionic minerals. Now, not iron, calcium, magnesium. Those are important. But there are over 70 trace minerals we need, things like gold and silver and zinc and beryllium and boron and molybdenum, okay? In the best organic food you're going to buy at the grocery store, you get 20 out of 70. The researchers found a source that had all 70 minerals. In addition, even if you're taking supplements, I'm going to warn you, you need to be very careful. If you're taking a vitamin that is synthetically produced, which is the majority of vitamins on the market, if you have the MTHFR gene, that will trigger a reaction, okay? They found a source that not only had the 70 minerals, but is the only source in the world with pure natural vitamins, nothing synthetic. So it is able to it creates methylation in the body, which is something that you really want to have happen for you, okay? So the point was that they couldn't rely just on regular food from the grocery store. So they limited the amount of food people consumed to 40% and gave them a shopping list of fats, proteins, carbs, et cetera, right? And then what they had done the research and they found they didn't find it. There were fulfillment companies that had found food sources around the world in Russia, Mongolia, Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, that had massive amounts of nutrition, not massive amounts of calories. So now they had, at least theoretically, they would be able to put people on less amount of food from a quantity standpoint of view, but they would maintain at least the minimum amount of nutrition, and actually they surpassed it, okay? So now they have the ingredients, right? 40% from the grocery store and, 60% from around the world. Then the next thing they did was two completely new ways of consuming the food. The first one's called protein pacing. Very important. Now again, they only relied on 40% of the proteins from what's available sources like from steak, chicken, fish, liver in North America. Now, one thing about protein you need to know that's a complete misnomer is when you ingest protein like 120 grams, you're getting 120 grams of protein. Nothing could be farther from the truth. The only reason we ingest protein from a plant or an animal is for what's inside the protein. So think of the protein like a walnut shell. Inside that shell are the 20 amino acids. 9 are called essential, meaning you have to get them from your diet. The other 11 are non-essential. So when you ingest protein from a plant or an animal, they developed a test in Europe. It's called net nitrogen utilization, where they could measure through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis what percentage from 0 to 100 of the amino acids was actually being absorbed in the body. That's the only thing that matters, right? Well, shockingly, vegetable proteins are about a 10% absorption out of 100. All meat, steak, chicken, liver, fish are 30%, right? Well, the researchers found a source of protein where the absorption is 91%, 91. So in these studies, men and women who weren't allowed to exercise, by the way, gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. And here was why. Because the way the body makes muscle is with one of the 20 amino acids called leucine. You have to have it in order to make muscle. So imagine these people were getting 91% of leucine. But the other important thing, back to that philosophy, they were able to decrease the total amount of food they were consuming, including protein, and yet give people the benefit of actually more nutrition with less by quantity, right? Another way to think about it, the body is like a machine, okay? Like let's say a car. So you put a gallon of gas in your car and maybe you can go 20 miles. But what if you could buy a gallon of gas that would take you 100 miles? That's what the researchers did. because the fewer quantity of food you consume that meets your nutritional needs, the more efficient your body works. It's really that simple, okay? So protein pacing was essentially they were having protein, only 40% of it from domestic sources, and the other 60% from this protein source from the other halfway around the world. And that was what the people consumed about every 3 hours, okay? Then the second thing they did that'll be really controversial is something called intermittent nutritional fasting, not fasting, where so they had no food from the grocery store, and they only had 4 of the 5 foods that they'd found from around the world, and then they ran blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, okay? So men and women with no exercise allowed lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet ever. Lost as much weight in 30 days as a year, and lost no water weight and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. It's right in the medical studies that are on our website for free. Renee, that's good. Is this food normally foods? So what is the food normally? So Skylight, great question. Your normal organic, you can research this, has between 15 and 20 out of 70 minerals. So even though, and again, Renee, your supplements, you're saying, but are they naturally derived or are they synthetically derived? That, again, I'm not talking you in or out of it. I'm just sharing the science with you. Okay, great info. Let's get how. So Ozempic, I promise I'll talk about that in a second. So what should be eating natural? Okay, so let me come back and address all of this, okay? So you have to understand that the researchers are the top weight loss researchers in the world for 38 years, recognize. Also, though, the head researcher is not just a nutritional researcher, he's also a physiologist, meaning basically you can working inside your body on how everything works, right? So they knew after 150 studies over 38 years that any form of diet where you were reducing the quantity of food you consumed triggered the starvation mechanism in the body as soon as the body figured out it didn't have enough nutrition, not enough calories. And so then what happened to people was they were in a position where they said, wait a minute, that's not, I mean, after 150 studies, they finally concluded whether it was paleo, keto, Mediterranean, time-restricted eating, the zone diet, the Cornish diet, didn't matter what diet it was. People lost weight every time. People every time lost up to 40% of their lean muscle, and every time the people gained back all their weight or more. Let me read from another study in here before I go on. They're saying 66 and 2/3 of people who go on diets by lowering calories gain back more weight than they lost. This is what, they're finally figuring this out. How could we have do you know, I read, this is ABC News. They're saying, they're estimating by 2048, 100% of America is going to be overweight. What are we doing? Does anyone think what we're doing is working? That's why we need the new health conversation, which is our free website. Let me put it up there for all of you again. The new health, it's lowercase. Sorry, I typed it in uppercase, but just forgive me. And no spaces, by the way. You can see it right there, the new health conversation. What's there? The medical proof and an interview with the #1 nutritional researcher and physiologist in the entire world. See, that's a whole different dimension. It's one thing to study kind of nutrition and ingredients, but it's another thing, okay, what's going on inside the body with all these interactions? That's why this is so significant. This is not an infomercial. This is life-changing. So basically what they did, they had to find sources that would allow them to give the body these See, about 150 years ago in this country, we had tremendous amounts of nutrition in our food. But do you know, for example, now they estimate that an orange from 30 years ago to equal the nutrition of 1 orange, you got to eat 6 to 8 oranges, about a dozen apples. And Cornell University did a study on spinach, iron levels in spinach. From 1953 to today, they say they've gone down by 4,300%. Now, again, if you're taking supplements and they're synthetic, really, you shouldn't be doing that, okay? And especially if you have the MTHFR gene, it causes a reaction. Because, again, a synthetic, first of all, the body has to first figure out what the heck is it? It doesn't recognize synthetic things. Do you know that when you consume processed food, you cause an immune system reaction in your body? Did you know that? We're learning all this. We didn't know it, but now the research is pouring in. They did 7 peer-reviewed studies on this published in the biggest medical journals in the world, Obesity Journal and Nutrition Journal, Frontiers in Nutrition, and they got published in Nature Communications, the #1 medical journal in the world. Does everyone understand what a peer-reviewed human trial study is? When you're the researchers, you submit your work to something like Nature Communications, okay? Oh, that's great, they're gonna publish it. They determine if it's worthy to be published. They send it out to other world-class experts, medical doctors and scientists, who review your work, and their job is to discredit what you're trying to prove. And if that comes back, they will publish the bad results. That's why you won't see any of these supplement companies on TV or any of these guys that have peer-reviewed human trial studies. These researchers, they don't have a dog in this. They don't sell anything. So it's not like they were, working with paleo or keto, right? They analyzed those, but they had nothing to do with it. In this case, this was a completely different way of looking at how in the world do we nourish our body. See, this protocol is called R2M. That's what they call it, race to maintenance. So they get you down to your goal weight, and then they show you how to maintain it. I mean, why wouldn't you want, if you need 70 minerals and you're getting 20, and now you can get 70. And if you need amino acids in order to remake us, which we do, why would you settle for 30% absorption when you can get 91%? And why would you settle for synthetic vitamins when you can get all natural? This is going to change everything. You know what the researchers are saying? They'll never recommend any form of traditional diet again, lowering or counting calories. Why? Because these results, they're published in 7 major journals. This is not my opinion, by the way. You can see there, I'm the researcher of the researchers. Good, Jim. Chrissy, peer-reviewed studies are experts at research. The fact check, you do it in college for research. Okay. Actually, yeah, I'm not opposed to perfect amino, but again, here's your problem. Where are the minerals? Where are the natural vitamins? If someone's going to ask me about pure aminos, yes, but it's not enough. That's what you have to understand, because I'm going to share something else with all of you in just a moment. But does everybody understand what the researchers theoretically did was obsolete every kind of diet you've ever been on out there? They did. I mean, and they're getting calls from all over the world, from Harvard Medical School, from Oxford in England, from Japan, around the world. These studies are causing a firestorm in a good way. Well, imagine. I know you can't believe it. If you could lose as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of a diet, if you could lose weight in a month, it would take you a year with no loss of water. And instead of losing any lean muscle, you can gain 6 to 9% lean muscle with no exercise. You don't have to believe me. I don't want you to believe me. But that website, I'll put it up there again for everybody. The New Health. It's free to go there. As a matter of fact, if you go there, for example, you can't buy my books. I didn't put my books on that website. We wanted to make it pure and unintrusive. If you go there, we're not going to contact you. I promise you. But you can see the medical studies. What do you see? Because the other thing, the weight loss is the least important reason to do this. They also, in 30 days, lowered blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides. And for the first time ever, no pure amino anything has ever impacted inflammation. In case you don't know, inflammation is the underlying cause of every disease out there. It went down in 30 days by 25%. Hunger went down 41% in a month. No one's ever seen, these researchers, they've never seen anything like this in 38 years. And they've always done blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis in the 150 studies they did on every diet out there. Is that good enough for you? Are you at least curious? Because the other thing you can do if you go to the website, there's a major interview with the #1 nutritional researcher, physiologist in the whole world. You know how rare that is to be both a nutritional researcher and a physiologist? Crazy stuff. I don't want you to believe Peter Greenlaw. I'm the researcher of the researchers. It's not my research, but we're bringing it to you. Why? Because we want you to have an alternative. Because what's your choice now? Can anybody put in the chat a diet that's not some form of lowering calories? What the heck would it be? Can anybody put it in there? Katrina, okay, go to the website for natural food supplements. It's by Zinzio via Slab. Right. Oh yeah, someone's coming on and saying also, so the 5, just to let you know, the 5 foods that come from all over the world, that's another important point. One, not me, but the fulfillment companies offer you a 100% money back guarantee in the first 30 days. No questions asked. They'll even pay return shipping. Because you got to understand, they've got the medical proof. And nothing's 100%. I wouldn't be dumb enough to say that. But can you imagine most women lose a whole dress size in 7 days? Pure Amino's not doing that. I mean, nothing against Pure Amino, but you've got to understand the picture is much bigger than that. Yes, the amino acids are important, but more important are the trace ionic minerals. You need 70, and in the best organic, you're getting 20. And they'll tell you, well, chelated minerals. Chelated minerals not in the same category. In order to utilize a chelated mineral, you have to use an amino acid to have it be able to transport it to the cell. It's not the same. This is going to, not my opinion, that's what they're saying, these world experts, this is going to change the world. Seriously, what if everything you thought you knew about diet, nutrition, and exercise was wrong? Well, now it's been proven. But let's look at a study on diets. Journal of the American Medical Association, okay? Big medical journal. 12-month study. They listed all the major diets. Well, what they did, they looked at 48 different studies, okay? 7,286 people over 12 months. And they named all the major diets that you're probably on, keto, Mediterranean, paleo, whatever it was, right? In a year, they monitored the most amount of weight loss on whatever diet, Mediterranean, it didn't matter, to the least amount of weight loss. And in 12 months, no matter what the diet was, the difference in weight loss was 10 ounces in a year. The average weight loss in a year was 16 pounds. And again, 40% of what the people lost was lean muscle mass. A little while ago, someone asked me about Ozempic. Let's be clear, I'm not against the shots. They're helping people with diabetes, obesity, and people are losing weight. But let's go to the New England Journal of Medicine, a new study on semaglutide, 68 weeks, 6-8 weeks, okay? A year and 4 months. In that period of time, the average weight loss was 32 pounds in 68 weeks. But right in the report, 40% of what the people lost was lean muscle mass. Talk to people that are coming off the shot. They're gaining everything back. Because it slows down the food moving through your digestive tract, so you're eating less food. Back to what I started with. The problem with every single diet out there is you're lowering the quantity of the food you're consuming. But is anybody telling you, other than Harvard now, saying, wait a minute, we need to concentrate on what's in the calorie, not how many calories we're consuming. So when you're lowering the quantity of your food, you're lowering the amount of your nutrition, it triggers the starvation mode in the body. Why? Because the brain, the kidney, the liver, the heart, the spleen, the pancreas, and our muscles rely on what? Nutrition, not on calories. In the book, we wrote, the enemy is not calories. It's what's in the calorie that matters. Is anyone teaching you this? Anyone telling you this? See, when we hear this word nutrition, it sounds like a big buzzword. Woo! But it's way more complicated than that. It's not just like pure aminos or organic food. Or again, if you're taking a supplement, please, for your own benefit, make sure it's naturally sourced, naturally occur. Make sure it's not synthetic, okay? And especially if you have the MTHFR gene, you don't want to be putting synthetic vitamins in your body. But here's something else you probably didn't know. If you are taking vitamins, do you know that a vitamin in your body without a trace ionic mineral, you're just paying for expensive urine? You are. The body can't use vitamins without minerals. That's why these minerals are so critical. So it's this whole picture. And years ago, the soil, the food in this country used to have all 70 minerals. But over, 150 years of we've got tremendous quantities of calories with very little nutrition. When ABC is talking about by the year 2048, 100% of America is going to be overweight, because it's 80% right now overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic. Does anyone think what we're doing is working? Let me see. Nothing is being marketed. What we're marketing is knowledge. We're giving you the chance. So what's the product or what's the basis of it? Okay. So for the new people coming on, not enough. Exactly, Laura. Tell the truth, sir. We need to educate people on this very thing. There's too many lies out there. Thank you, Chrissy. Okay, so let me give you the basic fundamentals for the new people coming on. So I'm the author of 4 best-selling. I'm not telling you any of this to impress you, but I want to impress upon you. You don't just think I'm just some guy spouting off here. I've written 4 best-selling books, all with medical doctors. I've done 20 shows on PBS. I was interviewed on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America. I've done over 1,500 live lectures around the world, including even in China. I've spoken in universities and hospitals, etc. And the thing that I was talking about the most that I haven't shared with any of you yet is this medical syndrome that I discovered. This is a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office. So you've heard of metabolic syndrome or syndrome X. Well, this is a new medical syndrome. T for toxicity, D for deficiency, O for being overweight, and S is for stress. Me and you and every person in the world has the TDOS syndrome because we're drinking, we're eating, we're breathing in chemicals. To give you an idea, we're all breathing in the fumes from the coal-fired power plants in China from about 2 weeks ago, the mercury, the cadmium, et cetera, whether you knew it or not. There was a big, did you see the thing on Starbucks coffee 8 weeks ago? In a cup of Starbucks coffee, you get between 50 and 100,000 microplastics in every cup of coffee. Do you know we didn't even know we were storing chemicals in our body until 2005, Mount Sinai Medical School in New York? So the average adult on this podcast right now, you'd have between 1,000 and 1,500 chemicals embedded in your visceral fat. That's why I promise I'm going to explain exactly why diets are failing us, but it's a lot more than just fast food and not exercising. Now we have the medical evidence and the proof. What the heck is going on? How could 80% of America be overweight with more diets? Go to Barnes & Noble and see how many diets are out there. I barely can keep up with it, right? So what happens is we drink and breathe and eat these chemicals at the end of the body to protect us takes the chemical and stuffs it in our visceral fat. So your outer layer of fat, that's called adipose or subcutaneous is a fancy word for it. But the underlying fat around the organs, that's called visceral fat. That's why people complain to me all the time. It's not just that I'm overweight, but it's the amount of fat I have on my body. Oh, by the way, the researchers in these, so what we're talking about for the new people is 7 new peer-reviewed human trial studies from the #1 nutritional researchers in the world and the top physiologists in the world who for 38 years did 150 studies on every diet you could name, whatever scheme you wanted. Paleo, keto, Mediterranean, time-restricted eating, fasting, corners. I don't have time to go through all the diets they analyzed. But they realized that every diet that they put people on, they lost weight. But every diet, people lost up to 40% of their lean muscle mass. Every person, every time, gained back all their weight or more. That's why 80% of America's overweight, okay? And 50% are obese. Now, what they did, they figured out what wasn't working was putting people on diets where you reduce the amount of food people were consuming. That's really what's going on in a diet. It's not about counting calories. It's about the nutritional, but what's in nutrition? What's in food? Nutrition. So you have a certain level, let's just say it's right there. That's the level that your body, now all your organs, your brain, your kidney, your liver, your heart, your muscles, everything can work if you have that level of nutrition, okay? You drop below that, the body triggers starvation mode in the body. You can't burn fat, and the body looks for fuel. You gotta have nutrition. The brain's not gonna go, the heart's not gonna go, the lungs aren't gonna, they need nutrition. Where do we find it first? In our muscles. It breaks our muscles down, converting them into carbohydrates, and then 2 of the most unhealthy things happen to you on the planet. Number 1, the body has no choice but to slow down your metabolism. The rate at which you burn calories is actually when you're resting, not when you're working out. The second thing it does is even scarier. It also interferes with your own immune system. So yeah, you may fit in your skinny jeans because you're going to lose weight on any diet out there. But again, is your diet doing something for you or is it doing something to you? All the medical evidence that we've researched, every diet out there is doing something to you, loss of lean muscle, and also interfering with your own immune system, okay? I wrote this book, not a trick title, Your Third Brain, with one of the top oncologists in the world who's also a molecular biologist. And one of the things he taught me with his cancer patients was the last thing on earth that he wants a cancer patient to do is to lose weight. Because primarily what they're losing when they lose weight is lean muscle mass. You lose lean muscle mass, and obviously with someone with cancer, they want to do everything possible to enhance their own immune system. This is not a diet. What I'm going to share with you next has nothing to do with dieting, but let me show you the results. The results were, and this shocked the researchers. Because keep in mind, when they started, this was a theory. This wasn't like a company that had put this together. They put it together. And they did it with 4 things. 1, they developed a grocery list. 40% of the food came from the grocery store in the United States. Proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, etc. But the other 60%, here's what made it work. They had found fulfillment companies that for the last 25 years recognized that the food in North America was basically the nutritional density was going down, down, down. So these companies had gone around the world to Russia, Russia, Mongolia, Manchuria, to Tibet and the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, to find these foods with massive amounts of nutrition that like the food used to be in this country 150 years ago. So they had 40% of the food from the grocery store and 60% of the food from these 5 foods. Then, again, this was all theoretical, 2 completely different ways of consuming. The first one was called protein pacing. So 5 days a week, the people had essentially, but only 40% of their protein from the local sources and 60% from these proteins from other parts of the world. On a protein pacing day, what they essentially were doing were giving people protein about every 2 to 3 hours over the course of 12 or 14 hours. Nothing to do with time-restricted eating. But here was the key for the new people. So you're going to, I'll probably make some, well, you'll think that I'm making this up, and I'm not. When you ingest protein, they'll tell you, like, have 120 grams of protein a day. You think, oh, I'm getting 120 grams of protein. No, you're not. They developed a new test in Europe through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, where when you ingest protein is like the walnut shell. The protein itself from a plant or an animal is totally useless to our body. It's actually a toxin. They have a name. They're called nitrogen catabolites. I'll explain that to you in a moment. But through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, when we ingest protein from a plant or an animal, they'll tell you what percentage of the 20 amino acids that we get from protein, not from fats and not from carbs. And amino acids have been called the building blocks of life. Like all of us, we'll rebuild the lining of our stomach twice this month. We'll make 2 new livers this year, and we'll turn over almost every cell in our body once every 7 years. That doesn't happen with fats, it doesn't happen with carbs, and it doesn't happen with protein itself. It happens with the amino acids inside the protein, like a walnut shell. So when we ingest the protein, the body breaks it open, extracts 20 amino acids, and then they measured what percentage, 0 to 100, were being absorbed. Well, sad to say, vegan was 10% out of 100. 10% absorption. Steak, chicken, liver, fish, trout, didn't matter, was 30%. Well, the researchers found a source where the absorption of the amino acids was 91%. 91. So with protein pacing, guess what they could do? They could have the people essentially consume 60% less protein. So again, the volume of the food they were consuming, but they were getting the same amount of nutrition or more. So that was protein pacing, 5 days a week. 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store, and they consumed 4 of these foods from around the world and did something called intermittent nutritional fasting, not time-restricted eating. And that was what they did. And they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis. But you know what's crazy about this? The weight loss is the least important reason to do it. What they found was this lowered blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides. It lowered inflammation by 25% in a month. People's hunger went down 41% in a month. And that visceral fat that I talked about earlier, where we're storing the chemicals, with no exercise allowed. No one was allowed to exercise, men and women. They shrank the visceral fat by 33% in 8 weeks. Nothing has ever produced anything even close to this. Now I'm going to share with you another major reason why we have this obesity epidemic really worldwide. It's because of the TDOS syndrome, toxicity, deficiency, overweight, and stress. Now what we're doing, we're ingesting these chemicals in water, air, and food. Now let me read from the world-class experts that we write about in our book. I don't want you to believe me. I don't give you opinions. I want you to understand I'm only giving you hard scientific proof. So listen to this. The Endocrine Society, the largest organization of experts devoted to the research on hormones and the clinical practice of endocrinology, reports the rise in incidence in obesity matches the rise and the use of distribution of industrial chemicals that may be playing a role in a generation of obesity. These chemicals have a name. You know what they call them? Obesogens. Listen to this. Simply put, obesogens are chemicals that disrupt the function of our hormonal systems, leading to weight gain and many of the diseases that curse the American populace. They enter our body from a variety of sources, from compounds found in soy, from hormones fed to animals, plastic pollutants in food packaging, chemicals added to processed food, and pesticides sprayed on our produce. They act in a they act in a variety of ways, mimicking human hormones and essentially reprogram us to gain weight. What are you doing about obesogens? Do you even know obesogens exist? Because none of the things you're putting up here, yeah, Chrissy, diet's a template. Yeah, U.S. Food is 10, and where can we read these? They're on I'm going to put the website up there for you again. Vetus is an independent users that provide the report and tell you what you need to do. Okay, so the new health. This is where you can see all the medical proof. No one else have peer-reviewed studies that I've seen, with all due respect, whether it's because again, if you're simply giving people opinions, so true, I'm not hungry anymore. Researcher, I spelled it wrong, I'm sorry. Let me put it up there for you again. The new, health conversation, okay? Okay, here's the point, okay? I'm not saying that any of his suggestions that at least I've seen so far, it's not like they're gonna hurt you, but you have to understand that none of what you're talking about, with all due respect, has ever been subjected to peer-reviewed human trials, especially the removal of the chemicals from the body. In these studies, through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, they proved that this protocol, first and foremost, was assisting the body in removing herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon and plastics from the body. Let's go listen, and I want to back up what I'm saying. Listen to this. Frederick von Saul, professor of biological sciences, University of Missouri at Columbia. Obesogens are acting by hijacking the regulatory systems that control body weight. Never before have traditional low carbohydrate, low calorie diets been forced to accommodate for the level of synthetic chemicals and the adverse effects they have on the body. The body's attempt to protect itself from the constant assault of synthetic toxins results in the production and storage of fat. Exactly what I talked about. Again, we don't give you opinions. If you want opinions, and there's a lot of really good things out there, but we've got to take a completely different approach, because unless you're dealing with the TDOS syndrome, all these other strategies, they're not meaningless, but there's no way. Unless you can assist your own body. You're storing these chemicals inside you. You've got between 1,000 and 1,500 chemicals stored in your body. What are you doing about it? Just pretending, okay, it's okay? This is what's happening. This is the reality. And you can see the proof. You can see the proof. Well, okay, Fit Cliff. What you didn't measure was your lean muscle mass, okay? And I'm not sure if you were on I'm only telling you the medical proof. There's no diet out there where you're on low cal. I mean, Harvard Medical School, where is it? Let me read the quote. Stop counting calories. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out for losing weight is not only antiquated, it's just wrong. We need to put the emphasis on in the calorie. See, again, you're proving my point. You can lose weight on any diet. That's not up for debate. But what kind of weight are you losing? I mean, unless you're some anomaly, you've lost up to 40% of your lean muscle, which is going to slow down your metabolism. Wait till you come off that diet. Wait till you see how fast you gain it back. So congratulations for losing weight. We're not arguing that you can't lose weight on a diet. We're not arguing that lowering calories you won't lose weight. We're not even arguing it. The medical proof is there that on every diet ever analyzed, up to 40% of what people lose is lean muscle mass. I mean, someone just asked me about Ozempic. New England Journal of Medicine, 68 weeks, people lost 32 pounds in 68 weeks. But 40% of what they lost was lean muscle. Do the math, 40% of 32, they lost about 14 pounds of lean muscle. And for every pound of lean muscle, according to the experts, it takes you about 12 months to regain 1 pound. I mean, again, you can believe whatever you want to believe. I'm not here to get into discussions with you. My job is to share the medical proof with you. And then if you do go to our website, let me show you this. The new health. It's free to go there. We're not going to contact you. There's nothing to buy. There's nobody that's going to trick you. But listen to what we offer you. If you go there and you like what you see, you can sign up for a free consultation with one of our coaches, not somebody in an 800 number that's reading from a script, someone that's done the protocols and has coached hundreds of people, because this is really complicated. You're not going on a diet. This isn't about counting calories, okay? This is about, yes, part of what you put in your body, 40% from the grocery store and 60% from these foods around the world, which you can't buy at your local grocery store. Like, where are you getting 70 trace ionic minerals? So someone was asking before about pure aminos. I like them, but they don't have any minerals in them. They don't have, and they don't have natural vitamins. So it's a part of the equation, but it's not all. So I have people that are doing pure amino and they're doing this protocol. It won't hurt. It's just nothing to be hurt. See, our people, they come on these podcasts and what they want to do, for some reason, they want to engage with me. I'm the researcher of the research. So there's no point in arguing with me. I'm not making, and these aren't claims. That's what's so different. See, you'll see these supplement companies say, well, we have a scientific paper, or there's a scientific ingredient that's been proven. But is it a peer-reviewed human trial study on human beings, not mice or rats or in a petri dish? Listen, when ABC News is saying that by 2048, 100% of America is going to be overweight, good luck. Don't you think we've got to at least be open to the idea, wait a minute. If I read before from the Journal of the American Medical Association study, a study of 48 different studies over a year, 7,286 people. They looked at every diet out there. And do you know the most amount of weight loss to the least amount of weight loss in a year from paleo to, it didn't matter what the diet was, it was 10 ounces in a year. And up to 40, they lost 16 pounds in a year, and up to 40% of what they lost was what? Lean muscle mass. Yet the people in these studies who were not allowed to exercise, men and women, they lost 16 pounds in a month. And instead of losing 40% of the lean muscle, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass, not lost no water. And as I said before, lowered blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, inflammation went down 25%, hunger 41% in a month, and in 8 weeks, they shrank the visceral fat by 33% with no exercise. There's nothing else like this. This is the breakthrough that these nutritional researchers have been looking for, 38 years, going on 39, I believe it is now, on 150 studies. They're the ones that did the research. They're the one that got the studies published. They didn't know if this was going to work. They'd never tried it before, but they tried pretty much everything else. How many people come on when we do the free personal consultation with them? They said, look, I've tried everything. I'm skeptical because I've tried everything. But what you tried are diets. I challenge any of you, please put in that category. I'm sorry, what paper? Okay, the website. I'm going to put it up there again for you. It's called it's free to go there. And all the medical evidence is there for you to see. Health Conversation. There's no books to buy. There's nothing to buy there. No one's going to contact. If you go to our website, we're not contacting you. We're too busy to do that. We're presenting you the medical proof for you to see. The studies are there. The results of the study, there are before and afters that if I showed them on this, I'd be banned on social media. I'm not kidding you. You'll see men and women that lost like 100 pounds with no loose skin, but you'll see the medical, you'll see the blood pressure, the HDL, you'll see all those numbers that they proved in these medical studies. In an interview with the number one, not only is he a nutritional researcher who heads up the teams that did the studies, but he's a physiologist who studies, basically what's going on inside our body. I know it's hard for you to believe because we've been inundated for year after year after year saying that the only way I see it today on social media. I can't find anybody. It's not at the end of the day when I dig deep, they're talking about showing you how to lower the amount of calories you're consuming when human body doesn't know what a calorie is. Why are you counting calories? It's ridiculous. It's a measurement. It's the amount of heat it takes to raise a gram of water 1 degree Celsius. What you need to be looking at is what about nutrition? That's why when someone before was saying I'm taking supplements, I said, make sure they're naturally sourced, naturally occurring. It's very rare to find that. If you have it, congratulations. But especially if you have MTHFR gene, you don't want to be taking synthetic vitamins, for example, okay? Now let me see. Oh, cool, blonde. That's wonderful. So is he, probably one of the leading ones in the world. Why? What do you mean I'm ignoring you? How am I ignoring you? No, blonde, you're not even, no, you missed the whole thing. No, what I'm saying to you is that part of this, the amino acid called net nitrogen utilization, okay, that's what it's called. The utilization of the amino acid inside the body is critically important to many of the cell reproduction inside of our bodies, okay? But it's way more than this. In addition to 91% absorption of amino acids, there are 70 trace ionic minerals in there. In the best organic you'll find, you're gonna get 15 to 20 out of the 70 minerals that we need. Also, there are naturally occurring vitamins. Rare, forget it. I mean, most of the vitamins on the market today are synthetic because of shelf life. So this is a major breakthrough. But again, what you have to understand is we're not, okay, Dr. Link. Okay, so a toxin is essentially, it can be a herbicide, it can be a pesticide, it can be Scotchgard, Teflon, herbicides, pesticides, whatever. It's something that you don't want in your body. That's a better way to explain it, okay? Yeah, there you go. Stop counting calories. J.D. Fruser, editor. Earlier he said it's not fasting, it's a type of fasting that's only part to fit. I'm not sure what that means. No, what I was saying is it's intermittent nutritional fasting. It's not fasting as you would know it. It's not time restricted eating. It's totally different. But again, let's come back to 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies in the biggest medical journals in the world, including Nature Communications, which is considered the #1 journal in the world. But you've got to understand there was so much more than weight loss in Nature Communications. The whole study was on the microbiome, and it just so happens I wrote the definitive book on it with he's one of the top oncologists in the world and a molecular biologist. Not a trick titled Your Third Brain, about the microbiome. Now, it wasn't related to this, but these new studies prove that this protocol massively increased the biodiversity in the gut, along with massively increasing the functionality. That's why I keep telling you, don't do this to lose weight. That's like a throw-in. That's going to happen anyway. But it's the physiological change. I know we have a physiologist on here. It's the physiological changes. Well, if you're a physiologist, you'll appreciate this. There were diabetics in the study monitored by their doctors. And as you well know, as a physiologist, when you give people like glucophage, metformin, and insulin, you're driving down the blood sugar, no question. But in every case so far, when that happens, insulin goes up. And when insulin goes up, what does it do? Number one, it stores fat. Number two, it increases cortisol. Okay? Well, in the studies, okay, in 30 days, blood sugar came down by 10 points. Again, monitored by their doctors, right? Not by their researchers. But here was something never seen before. Insulin came down in 30 days, 41%. No one's ever seen anything like that. But also, you should be impressed. Inflammation, which is the underlying, medical world now says that's the underlying cause of every disease out there. And they measured C-reactive protein in interleukin-1, not to get too fancy on some of you, but the medical people in here will understand that. It went down 25% in 30 days. Hunger went down 41% in a month. Look, you're trying to compare it to things you know. I don't fault you for that. But what if everything you thought you knew about diet, nutrition, exercise was wrong? They've made all those strategies obsolete. I mean, right now we have 80% of Americans are overweight, 50% are obese, and 50% are pre-diabetic. But listen to this one. CDC came out about 6 to 8 months ago and said 92.3% of the American population is metabolically unhealthy. That means 9 out of 10 of you on this podcast are metabolically unhealthy if you have 3 of 5 factors: overweight, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, high triglycerides. All 5 came down in 30 days. All 5. That's why but the other thing that happened, again, back to this TDOS syndrome about us storing chemicals in our fat cells, which we are, through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, they proved this was assisting the body in removing the herbicides, the pesticides, the Scotchgard, Teflon, and plastics from our bodies. You have, if you're on here, you have between 1,000 and 1,500 chemicals already stored in your visceral fat. That's why the proportion, it's not just people are overweight anymore, it's the amount of fat they have in the body because the body doesn't know what else to do. We're evolving as a species to deal with these chemicals that we're ingesting through water, air, and food. You know, they did a study on 10,000 municipal water supply last year. They found that in every one, on average, there were between 400 and 600 toxic chemicals. Things like, well, pharmaceuticals, Lipitor, Valium, you name it, in the water that you're drinking from your tap. Because the water treatment plants were never set up, they deal with Giardia, but they're not set up to deal with, so people are not antibiotics. They flush them down the toilet. And well, the water treatment plant can't remove antibiotics from the plants. Do you know right now 80% of all antibiotics are given to animals? And we now have major problems with antibiotic resistance? This is pretty scary stuff. And so should we just continue to do what we've been told? Okay, well, I'll eat whole foods and I'll do organic and I'll do, but it's not working. It's not working. And when we're talking about the TDOS syndrome, which is a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office, they recognize it as a new medical syndrome. Every one of us have it, including me. So what's your strategy to assist your body in removing these chemicals, which have a name called obesogens, from your body? Now, lest you think I don't make things up. I don't have to. Let me read again about these chemicals. Did you know about obesogens today? Which diet are you on that removes obesogens from your body? Oh, by the way, what diet are you on where you don't lose lean muscle mass and water? Oh, by the way, what diet are you on that's lowering inflammation in your body? You can do whatever you want to do. But again, let me read for some of the new people. So how do we get rid of the toxins? Well, that's what I was just explaining to you, bright side of light. These studies proved blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis that this was removing, well, it wasn't, the body was removing herbicides and pesticides, the chemicals from the body. That's how you remove toxins, but not from any traditional diet that's ever been tested. There's never been evidence of 1 gram of a toxin, whether it's paleo, keto, Mediterranean, time-restricted eating. You have to understand, we're looking through the wrong end of the telescope. Every diet out there, let's face it, it's some form. I mean, people go on diets, to lose weight. I got a wedding coming up, etc. But now we understand that the physiology of what's going on inside our body. Do you know that every disease in this country is completely out of control? Like in 1990, about 1 in 15 women got breast cancer, and this year it's about 1 in 8. I mean, we have kids as young as 10 on high blood pressure medication, which isn't surprising. I mean, Harvard Medical School said obesity leads to about 60 known diseases. Now, lest you think I'm insensitive to people being overweight, okay? My own mother was morbidly obese my whole life, a major reason why I became a nutritional researcher. Because 23 years ago, she called me up one day, and I love my mom. She was awesome. She said, Peter, I have one wish that I wish I could accomplish. I said, what's that, Mom? She said, I would give anything to spend a day thin, 24 hours. I said, well, Mom, that's cool. Well, 6 months later, a massive heart attack and stroke, and I lost my mom. My mom did about every diet that you guys have heard. Well, maybe some of you haven't heard of, but like the grapefruit diet, cabbage diet, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, OptiFast, Atkins, on and on and on. Do you know what I would have given it would have had to be a phone call back then, to just have an opportunity to see this science. Of course, it didn't exist. This protocol hadn't even been invented yet. I think it was invented about 25 years ago, but it's been through a bunch of iterations. And then these researchers kind of put all the pieces of the puzzle in these 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies. I would just challenge all of you to just think about, are you holding on to your opinion? Are you holding on to your skepticism? I support that. I do. But are you trying to tell me that you don't want to take a few minutes to go and see the medical proof? I'm putting it up there again for you because so many people are coming on. Conversation. Okay, hold on just a second. So this website is a medical research site. There's nothing on there that... Okay, hold on. I got to do it again here. For some reason, it didn't post. The new health conversation. Okay, hold on just a second. Okay, there you go. The new health darn, I spelled it wrong. Let me do it again for all of you. The new, no spaces. The new health conversation. There it is. You can go there. It's totally free, and we will not contact you. I promise you, if you go there, what are you going to see? The medical proof, the results of the medical studies, an interview with the #1 nutritional researcher and physiologist considered in the whole world, okay, not me. And if you like what you see, you can sign up. Listen to this, a free consultation, free, no gimmicks, no tricks. We're not going to try. With one of our coaches who's done the protocol and been trained, not somebody at 800 numbers checking off from a list. Oh yeah, do this, the 3 recipes to lose weight. Way more complicated than that. And if you do decide to do it, like I've said before, 40% of what you would buy is from the grocery store and you get a list. The other 60% of these 5 foods that come from around the world that aren't sold in the grocery store, but those suppliers, those fulfillment companies that offered the 5 foods, they give you 100%, no questions asked, money back guarantee in the first 30 days. Are they doing that with paleo or keto or Mediterranean or time restricted eating? No. Maybe they are. I've never seen it. But again, you're going on these diets with no medical proof. Opinions, celebrity endorsements, before and after pictures. Well, I can tell you for 20 of my 21 years of research, having run, and I'm not telling you to impress you, but I've written 4 best-selling books, appeared 20 times on PBS, interviewed on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America, and did 1,500 live lectures all over the world, including in China. Do you know for 20 of those years it didn't mean a darn thing in the medical world? 0. Until these 7 new peer-reviewed studies came out. Now I got doctors left and right wanting to find out about this because it's something that we need. I'm not against drugs, but what if people, we all know that if someone's on high blood pressure or blood sugar, most of the doctors say, hey, if they could just lose weight, they probably need less medication. Why would that be a bad goal? Thank goodness we have, with 80% of America overweight and 50% pre-diabetic, thank goodness we have these drugs. But what if we could, in other words, increase sort of their effectiveness by reducing the amount you needed? Would that be a good thing? And this, we're not treating, diagnosing, making medical claims. We're not doing that. We only rely on what's in these 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies. We got major medical doctors. I got, nutritionists, dietitians. I mean, they're blown when they go to that site. Their jaw hits the floor. They've never seen anything like this. What's cool? Nothing's made up on there. There's no marketing. There's no celebrity endorsements. It's just the medical proof in an interview with the #1 nutritional researcher and physiologist in the world for 38 years, 150 studies of every diet out there. I think I'm going to listen to him. So let's see. Conspiracy theorist. Poison. Yeah, you're right about that. Free consult. Yes, absolutely blunt. 100% free consult, right? Let's see. Is this... no, part of it is, but there's other things in addition to that. There's the pitch. What's the pitch? Where did he post the website? Okay, I'm going to put the website up there. What did I pitch? See, I get really upset when people say that. We offer you a free website to go and see the medical proof. That's all you have to do. If you go there, we're not. So why is that a pitch? If you don't want to know, then stay on a stupid diet, lose the weight, and gain it all back. And what are you doing about removing toxins? Nothing. Zero. Okay? So don't say I'm pitching when I'm not pitching anything other than giving you free access to the world-changing medical evidence. It's up to you. Okay, I'm going to put the website up there again. What's the part that you don't understand, who's ever making that comment? The new health. I understand you're skeptical. I just put it up there for you. Hold on. Come on. Let me put it up there. What's the site? I'm going to send it again. The new health, new health conversation. There you go, the new health, and I spelled it right. Look, the idea, what we did, look, for example, if you go there, there's no books to buy. If I was trying to pitch stuff, I'd be selling my books on the web, buy my book and find out how we did this. That's not what we're doing. If you go there, you can see the medical proof. There's even a 20-minute video walking you through exactly in much more detail with screen sharing and showing you shots of here's the grocery list, etc. And then, only then, you can have a free consultation. Is that the pitch? Then don't do it. Don't. Then listen to these other influencers that are going to show you some form of dieting where you're lowering calories, despite the fact Harvard Medical School says stop counting calories. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out is not only antiquated, it's just wrong. We need to change the narrative to concentrate on what's in the calorie, not how many calories we're consuming. That's not my opinion. That's Harvard Medical School. So again, if you want to go on it, they don't work. You understand? We wrote the book, Why Diets Are Failing Us. If we've got 80% of America overweight now and 50% obese and 50% pre-diabetic, can someone tell me why they think diets work? And here's ABC News. A study came out today saying that by 2048, 100% of America is going to be overweight. I mean, what do you want me to say? Does that sound like diets work? Does it sound like maybe we need the new health conversation? That's our website. That's my brand. It's a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office. But the more important thing for you, all of you, the TDOS syndrome. You all have it. You can pretend you don't. But the medical, look, we're breathing and drinking and eating the chemicals. I mean, if a Starbucks cup of coffee has between 50 and 80,000 microplastics in it, there was a study done last year out of Australia. They're estimating that we all eat the equivalent of a credit card per week in plastic. That's not my research. I mean, is this crazy? But we just want to give you a safe place to go to see the medical proof. Once you see the medical proof, then you get to decide. I don't know why no one believes me that you can go to that website. There's no strings attached. Like, oh, well, check here to see the next part. We're totally transparent. The medical studies are there, the before and afters are there, an interview with the number one, the person who did the studies, not me. I don't want any of you to believe Peter Greenlaw. The thing I'm most proud of and the thing that makes me so different than everybody else is I've done the research. I've worked with some of the top medical doctors, geneticists, molecular biologists, nutraceutical chemists, physiologists in the whole world. I'm the researcher of the researchers. I'm not the expert, but I became an expert on the experts. Everything I'm sharing with you is what they've all been searching for almost 40 years. And in the interview, he says they'll never recommend any form of traditional diet ever again, reducing, counting calories, time-restricted eating, Jenny Craig, it doesn't matter. He said, would be unconscionable. We now know that we can have people lose as much weight safely in 7 days as in 8 weeks of any diet with no exercise allowed, without the loss of water, and gaining 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. People lost as much weight in 30 days as a year on any diet. Again, no loss of water and gaining lean muscle. And in 8 weeks, shrinking that visceral fat, we're restoring the chemicals by 33% in 8 weeks. I lost 40 pounds 21 years ago. I've kept it off for 21 years. That's why they call this R2M, race to maintenance. Most women lose a whole dress size in the first 7 days. Most men will lose 2, 3, 4 inches off their waist with no exercise. Now, let me be clear. I get some water. The researchers, they're not against exercise, okay? But they didn't want exercise to be an outlier. Otherwise, they lost weight because they did diet and exercise. They totally eliminated it. And yet, people gain 6 to 9% lean muscle mass despite. See, what I'm sharing with you when you hear, oh my God, they lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of diet, that's got to be unhealthy. No, the researchers, they measured water. They measured lean muscle mass. They did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, of course. That's what shocked them. They didn't know that this was going to work the way that it did. And they had 38 years of experience looking at every kind of diet out there. So let's see if you're spreading. Oh, you know what? You're just you're so funny, C, okay? I mean, it's just one of those things that, goodbye, grifter, spreading hysteria and snake oil. See, that shows how ignorant you actually are, okay? A peer-reviewed human trial study is irrefutable, okay? Just to give you a lesson here real quickly. Peer-reviewed human trial studies are irrefutable. There is no other diet, nutrition, supplement company in the world with peer-reviewed human trial studies. So in terms of snake oil, it's one of the most offensive things that anybody could say. You're just not grounded in reality. Why is it that no other diet, no other nutrition, no other supplement company have peer-reviewed human trial studies? You'll hear the term scientific study. That doesn't mean anything. You'll hear the term scientific paper. That doesn't mean anything. You'll even hear clinical trial. Well, a clinical trial is a dress rehearsal. The final, no drug would ever get approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. Period. End of the story. So my point is that's why I'm the researcher of the researchers. So in terms of snake oil, then you should probably never take a prescription drug ever again in your lifetime. Don't believe your doctors. Don't take any, I'm being facetious, of course. The whole point of all this, what makes us unique, what makes us different, that we're giving this gift to you of 21 years of research for free. We're not twisting your arm. We are not going to convince you or try and sell you. If you sign up for a free consultation with our coaches, they're not there to sell or convince you. They're there to say, okay, what if you want to gain weight? What if you want to lose weight? And by the way, hysteria, when we're talking about major studies, ABC News, for example, or any of the things that I'm quoting, they're from major medical studies. I mean, that's the thing we're lacking. This is not fake information. This is the real stuff. Now, maybe that offends people. See, science doesn't have any emotions, unlike me. It doesn't have an agenda. It doesn't have a prejudice. It just is. And for the first time ever, we have real scientific proof, real medical evidence that you can lose as much weight safely in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet. You can lose weight in 30 days as a year in any diet. with no loss of water and no loss of lean muscle mass. Oh, by the way, instead of losing lean muscle, you can gain 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. I know it sounds too good to be true, but you can go and see the medical proof. Your skepticism may prevent you from maximizing your quality of life potential for the rest of your life. The program's R2M, race to maintenance. It's not just that you consume. Why wouldn't you want to put 70 minerals in your body every day? Why wouldn't you want to put 91% of the amino acids in your body every day? And why wouldn't you want to consume these rare combinations of these naturally occurring vitamins, not synthetic? Why wouldn't you want to do that? Because those are all things we need to do what? To combat this TDOS syndrome, which we're storing these chemicals inside of us. It's not hysteria. That's the proof. I read to you from the Endocrine Society. They said the largest organization of experts, not me, they're the researchers on hormones and endocrinology. The rise in incidence of obesity matches the rise in distribution of industrial chemicals. Should you just not be aware that that's out there? You just ignore it? You think it's just about your waist? Do you know that as your waist circumference increases, your brain decreases in size? Did you know that? Oxford in England did a big study on that. I think it was like 125 or 175,000 people. So this is not about being overweight. This is about being unhealthy as a result of being overweight. And like I shared with you before, my own mom was morbidly obese my whole life. Never knew her thin, never knew her healthy, loved her. She was awesome. And 23 years ago, called me up one day and said, I have one big wish in my life. I said, Mom, what's that? She said, I would give anything to spend one day thin, 24 hours. 6 months later, massive heart attack and stroke. My mom didn't get a do-over. I can't tell you if I would have known about this 23 years ago and have given her something that she could lose as much weight in a week as in 8 weeks of any diet. Who knows? I believe she dieted herself to death. She did about every diet there was. She would cut diets out of the National Enquirer. And if we look at the evidence, if 80% of us are overweight, 50% are obese, and 50% are pre-diabetic, and 9 out of 10 Americans are metabolically unhealthy, do you think maybe we need a different approach or not? Or do you just want to hang on to what everybody's telling you to do? All these new, even carnivore. Well, I like carnivore, but it doesn't have 70 minerals. It has a 30% absorption of amino acids, and it certainly doesn't contain natural vitamins. This is like the researchers searched for this solution. They didn't know if it was going to work. So this wasn't like some 3 recipes to lose weight or lotions, potions, pills, etc. It took them 38 years to figure out what didn't work to create what did work. How much would you be excited if, I probably shouldn't even tell you this, but I would say most men and women lose as much weight in 4 days as in 4 weeks of any diet. They also lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet, lost as much weight in 30 days as a year in any diet, without water loss, no exercise allowed, and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. Aren't you at least curious about that? And yet you can go to that website for free. First, I didn't say anything about 7. Who heard me say 7 days? I'm sorry, you misunderstood it. I didn't say anything about 7. Okay, Mackenzie Scott. I thought that I just had gone over that a little while ago. So let me give you what did they do? The researchers did 4 things. 1, they developed a grocery list that you would take to the grocery store of 40% of the food you would consume. The other 5 foods, 60% of the food you consume, came from these fulfillment companies that for 25 years had looked around the world to find food sources that still had tremendous amounts of nutrition. Not something you can buy at your local grocery store, okay? So 40% from the grocery store, 60% from these 5 foods from around the world. Then they did 2 revolutionary new ways of consuming the food. Number 1, something called protein pacing. So each 7 days, 5 days a week, they did protein pacing. What's protein pacing? They were having 40% of their protein came from, steak, chicken, liver, fish. But the other 60% came from a protein source that had a typical absorption of amino acids. If you're familiar with amino acids, they're the building blocks of life. For example, if you want to make muscle in your body, you need one of 20 amino acids, actually one of they're called 9 are essential, meaning you have to get them from your diet, called leucine. As you heard me say, men and women with no exercise gain 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. Here's why. Because leucine is responsible for making muscle in the body. So 40% of the protein that people consume had an absorption of 30%. But 60% of the protein they consumed had a 91% absorption. That's why they made lean muscle mass. Then the protein was spread out, let's say every 2 or 3 hours over the course of 12 or 14 hours over the course of a day. That's protein pacing, which people did 5 days a week, not 7. Then 2 days a week, they did something called intermittent nutritional fasting. I didn't misspeak. It's not fasting. It's not time-restricted eating. It's nutritionally supported fasting, a revolutionary new concept. And again, I share the results. Men and women lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet. They lost as much weight in 30 days as people lost in a year. They lost no water. And instead of losing lean muscle, which is the case on every diet that I've showed you today, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. I mean, but that's the last reason to do this. Blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides all came down in 30 days. Inflammation, everybody has it. It's the underlying cause of every disease out there. It went down 25% in a month. People's hunger came down 41% in a month. And people shrank their visceral, that's the fat around our organs, with no exercise. It shrank by 33% in just 8 weeks. This is not a diet. It's like nothing like it. Now, the reason we want you to go, we invite you to go to the website, is you can see the medical proof. I don't want you to believe me. But there's an interview with the #1 nutritional researcher, and he's a physiologist who conducted, he and his team conducted, after 38 years, 150 studies. They created this, is what really happened, okay? And they don't sell anything. They're just scientists. But this was a theoretical approach, and it's changing the world. I mean, I understand you're all struggling with the skepticism, but we're going to show you the medical proof first, and then if you like what you see, you can go and sign up for a free personal consult, because this is really complicated, okay? So we have coaches that have done it, that have been trained. They'll answer all your questions. And by the way, the 5 foods that you would buy from that represent 60% of what you're consuming, that comes with a 100% money-back guarantee from the fulfillment companies who supplied those 5 foods to the studies. Sounds pretty good to me, right? So let me see. Is anybody else commenting? Okay, let me put it up there again. So for all of you, hold on, the new, health conversation. Here's the free website for all of you to go to if you want. If it would just post. Sometimes I'm a researcher. I'm not good on social media. I apologize to everyone in advance. And there's no spaces in the website. Hold on just a second. Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. Okay, how does he know to say the website? What a mess. I can't trust info from what? I've said the website a whole bunch of times. What are you talking about? The new health conversation. I mean, that's just, I'm sorry. I've got so many comments that I'm not able to keep up with them all. That's what's going on. I just saw your comment just now. Dr. Left Hook, I'm not giving any information. I'm talking about 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies. What? Are you kidding me? I'm not giving you any information. That website, it's all there. You know better. A peer-reviewed human trial study, there's nothing higher. I mean, that's just laughable. No. You get access to the website with, you misunderstood, doctor. The website's free. You don't have to talk to anybody. You go there, you see the medical proof. I've said a million times, don't believe me. I'm the researcher of the researchers. Are you trying to tell me you're unwilling to go and look at the peer-reviewed studies in the biggest medical journals in the world for the breakthrough that's going to change everything you thought you knew and everybody, medical doctors, about diet, exercise, and nutrition? It's irrefutable. My God, they got published in Nature Communications, the #1 medical journal in the world. I mean, hello? Well, good. And I apologize. I don't mean to get so animated, but you have to understand this is my life's work for 21 years. I've written 4 best-selling books with some of the top medical doctors in the world. One of my colleagues is the geneticist who discovered the gene that causes aging. You know, I take this really seriously. We have, doctor, you would agree, it's a crisis. 80% of Americans overweight and 50% obese and 50% pre-diabetic. Do you think maybe we got a problem here? And yet you can go there for free. There's no gimmicks. There's no tricks, okay? Let me just see. Well, I thank you very much for that comment. That means a lot to me. Oh, great. Okay, that's even better. I got lots of comments. I'm sorry. Let's see. Yeah, let me, someone's over here. My son has a rare autoimmune, I won't read the rest of it. Yeah, what I would suggest is go to you can see the website, The New Health Conversation, and because we have doctors as coaches as well. So again, the reason we would do a free consultation with you is we're not just going to give you some recommendation over the internet about something that's that serious. And I'm not going to make any claim that we can help you or not help you, but we've helped in 21 years about 500,000 people all over the world. And that was, for 20 of those years, we didn't have the medical proof that we have now, okay? So, Dr. Lefthook, that's great, 40 pounds in 3 months. We got people losing 40 pounds in 30 days, just to let you know, okay? So, congratulations. I mean, I'm not going to discredit that, but that's the whole point. That's why the researchers will never recommend traditional diets again, because they had people lose weight essentially 12 times faster than any diet without the loss of lean muscle mass. But I don't want you, just please go to the website, look at the information. If you like what you see, then sign up for a free consultation or not. But we're not restricting people from seeing the proof. They don't have to sign up for anything. But my gosh, also, if they decide to do it, that 60% of the food they're going to buy comes with a 100% money back guarantee. What diet out there has that? Zero. Okay, the website. No, there's nothing to do with calories, Blondie. That's what you're missing. Okay, hold on. That's why you need to go and see, because let me type this in here for everybody first. The New Conversation. Oh man, hold on, everybody. I'm having trouble typing here. The New Health Conversation. Okay, hold on. Okay, so no, you're missing the point. Get calories out of your mind, all of you. Calories mean nothing to the human body. The human body doesn't even know what a calorie is. All a calorie is a measurement, okay? 5 days a week, people are doing protein pacing, where they're having proteins, fruits, vegetables, etc. 5 days a week, 2 days a week out of 7. So 5, protein pacing, okay? So it's proteins, fats, carbs, fruit, etc., okay? 2 days a week is intermittent nutritional fasting, just 2 days. But please get the word calorie out of your mind. You're going to make me crazy. But again, Harvard Medical School, stop counting calories. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Harvard Medical School. They said we need to put the emphasis on what's in the calorie, not how many calories we're consuming. In our book, the premise was the enemy is not calories. But what's in the calorie is the enemy, the lack thereof of nutrition. I understand. This is why we have you go to the website. There's a 20-minute video explaining in greater detail what they did. But then, because we don't know, do you want to gain weight? Do you want to lose weight? How old are you? Do you work out? What are the diets you've been on? We have kids as young as 2 and people 90 years old doing this, right? So, I mean, the point is that we've set up that basically medical research site to give you the confidence that it's safe, that it's been vetted, that it's been proven. I promise you, if you go there, your jaw will hit the floor. You've never seen the result. You've never seen anything like that. And nothing's made up because it's all backed by what? The peer-reviewed human trial studies. You okay? Yeah, okay, I'm reading the papers. Okay, great. Sugar and processed food. I'm not exactly Blondie, protein pacing, if P. I'm not quite sure what that means. Sugar and processed foods. If you're saying that's part of the overweight epidemic, yes. What is the average cost of a weekly grocery list? I mean, let me put it to you a different way. Most people feel that when they look at their grocery bill, because this replaces 57 meals with the 5 foods that come from around the world out of 90 meals. So that would mean, what, 37 of your meals you're buying from the grocery store. I don't know what you spend on a weekly basis, but most people feel that when they 40% of their food from the grocery store and the other 60% with these 5 foods, it's not that much more than what they're spending right now for their food. But also, where are you going to get a meal? Okay? Where are you going to get a meal where you get all 70 trace ionic minerals, you get a 91% absorption of amino acids, and you get natural vitamins, not synthetic vitamins. Just that alone, okay? So you can do a meal on this for as low as like $4.25, let's just say that, from the 5 foods. Well, I'm sorry, that's not quite true. It'd be the 5 foods plus some food from the grocery store. So maybe it's a little bit more than that. I just heard today that a salad in New York City, a tossed salad, is $20. What are we doing? You're all going to the grocery store. You see what the prices are, but you have to understand the food you're buying is nutritionally compromised. So you're ingesting these calories with very little nutrition. Your body is still hungry, but it was never hungry for calories. It was hungry for nutrition. That's the whole point. That's why why are diets failing us? Simple. A diet is a form of lowering the amount of food you're consuming. Forget the calories for a moment. When you lower the level of nutrition in your body, when you level the amount of food, you're also lowering nutrition. Here's what happens. When your body figures out there's not enough nutrition, it triggers the starvation mode, you store fat, and your body goes and breaks your muscles down for fuel. Okay, that sounds okay. Because the brain, the kidney, the liver, the heart, all our organs, they run on nutrition. They don't run on calories. The human body doesn't know what a calorie is. We've been brainwashed to think that a calorie is just a measurement. It's the amount of heat to take, raise a gram of water, 1 degree Celsius. Nothing less, nothing more than that. But reducing food and reducing nutrition, that's a whole different ballgame. So when the body senses that doesn't have enough nutrition, it goes and finds it in our muscles first. But then the body slows down our metabolism. We can't burn as many calories. And then it also impacts our own immune system. No diet's dealing with that. What did the researchers do? They figured out the minimum amount of nutrition the body needed. Could they do that by lowering the amount of food people were consuming? They did it. And yet, not only did they maintain the nutrition, they went above it. So people, instead of losing lean muscle mass, which happens on every diet, you can do the research yourself, up to 40% of what you lose on any diet is your lean muscle mass, resulting in slowing down your metabolism. You come off the diet, you gain all your weight back. You've been through it. And yet you listen to these influences that tell you, well, the only way to lose weight is to lower calories. I go with Harvard Medical School saying, stop counting calories. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out is not antiquated. It's wrong. What? Yeah. They're saying what matters is what's in the calorie, not how many calories. I wrote about this. This book was written in 2010, 14 years ago. We've had 3 updates to it, and then we've written 3 other books since, the TDOS Syndrome, TDOS Solutions, and Your Third Brain. Look, if you go to a website, no books to buy there. We're not selling books. We're giving you access to knowledge that's taken, not me, but researchers almost 40 years to figure out finally the silver bullet for weight loss and health. I'm not going to talk you. If you want to go follow all these nice people that I see, there's medical doctors and chiropractors and weight loss. Workout people and weight loss coaches. Follow. But every one of them's telling you that the only way to lose weight is to lower calories. And have any of them ever showed you one shred of medical evidence about what they're claiming? I've never seen any. So let's see. Okay, let me look at a couple more comments. Yeah, but see, there's where I'm sorry, Lauren, I don't mean to be disrespectful. This whole thing about lean proteins is complete nonsense, okay? The thing we didn't know until about 8 years ago in Europe was, yes, protein is critically important, but not for the protein itself from a plant or an animal. So let me just fill you in. There's a new measurement in Europe. It's called net nitrogen utilization. As you probably know, Lauren, it sounds like you're very knowledgeable, okay? No, Lauren, that's not true. A calorie is the amount of heat it takes to raise a gram of water 1 degree Celsius. I just explained to you, Harvard Medical School, stop counting calories. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out to lose weight is not only antiquated, it's just wrong. That's Harvard Medical School. But let me finish for you on the protein. This maybe will make sense, or maybe it won't, or maybe it'll make you mad. So when we ingest, the only reason we ingest a protein is not for the protein itself. The protein itself is like the walnut shell. So the protein carries the 20 amino acids. 9 are called essential. You have to get them from your diet. The other 11 are non-essential. We have to have those. So let's say they tell you to ingest 120 grams of protein. You'd be led to believe you're getting 120 grams of protein. No. When they measured the absorption of the 20 amino acids, which is the only thing the body cares about, whether it's nutrition, whether it's a drug, et cetera, it's the absorption, called efficacy. That's the technical term. But what happens is that in the studies, when they looked at like vegetable proteins, Lauren, the absorption of the 20 amino acids was 10% out of 100. When they looked at all meats, the lean proteins like turkey, chicken, steak, didn't matter, the absorption was only 30%. Now, this was through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis. And what wasn't converted to amino acids was turned into toxic waste. They're called nitrogen catabolites, urea, creatine, ammonia, and glucose. Sorry to tell you that. That's the byproduct. So these people, for example, if God forbid you ever had a friend on kidney dialysis, they don't want to have any protein at all because of the toxicants. They're called toxicants, actually. That's what they call them. But the researchers found a source of protein where the absorption was not 10% or 30%. It was 91%. So not only were they getting basically a 600% increase in the amount of amino acids, but they had almost no waste for the kidneys to have to deal with. That's the problem, say, with a carnivore diet. I'm not opposed to carnivore, but you need more than just carnivore, okay? Because again, with carnivore, you're not getting the 70 trace ionic minerals that we need. So your suggestion on the lean protein is what that reference Harvard study recommended. Yeah, it may, but the Harvard study, what I'm telling you is that this new protein, what's called net nitrogen utilization, debunks everything that they thought about protein consumption. So that's why, let's see, is his paper, I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm in need of this. Great, John, you can go to, and Lauren, let me come back to you for just a moment. I just want to be in a position to at least share with you the medical proof, New Health. Look, part of the reason that 80% of Americans are overweight is because we're basically doing the same thing we've always done, the definition of insanity. Every single diet out there is some form, whether it's I'm going to eat whole foods, I'm going to do organic, I'm going to skip 2 meals, I'm going to do time-restricted eating. None of it's working. I mean, right here, Lauren, ABC News is just a new study. They're projecting that by 2048, 100% of America is going to be overweight. How's that going to turn out? We have 80% right now overweight, and 50% obese, and 50% pre-diabetic, and 9 out of 10 Americans are metabolically unhealthy. So whatever method we're using, I think it's pretty hard to argue that it's working. That's why this breakthrough, with 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies, it's going to obsolete every diet out there, every nutrition plan, every approach. Because what they did, they realized that the only thing that mattered to the body was not how many calories you were consuming, because like a calorie is not, it's just a measurement. It's not calories in, calories out, it doesn't work, okay? What you're really saying there is you're reducing the amount of food you're consuming. And they have a measurement on the food of the calorie, but it's not the calorie that matters, it's the nutrition. So Lauren, I'm just saying, just rethink this, reimagine it, right? We're talking about the fact that when you go on a situation where you reduce the quantity of your food, you're reducing the quantity of your nutrition. And when your body figures out it doesn't have nutrition, it goes in starvation mode, shuts down fat burning, and goes and hunts for what? Nutrition. Why? Because nutrition runs our brain, our kidney, our heart, our liver, our pancreas, and our spleen, not calories. But where does it start? With our muscles. It breaks our muscles. This is proven medically, okay? Breaks our muscles down, converting them into carbohydrates for fuel. But it's so inefficient, the body then does 2 other really unhealthy things. One, it slows down your metabolism, but not just your metabolism when you're working out. The most important metabolism to all of us is what's called your basal metabolic rate. That's the rate at which you burn calories when you're resting, okay? But the other thing it does that most people don't know is that also by losing lean muscle mass, you also inhibit the functionality of your own immune system. What? Now, you may fit in your skinny jeans, but here's the thing. Is your diet doing something for you, or is it doing something to you? All the medical evidence points to the fact that every one of these diets is doing something to us. Lauren, and for everybody else, let me read from one other study. The Journal of the American Medical Association did a 12-month study. We referenced it in here. That in 12 months, they looked at 48 different studies of 7,286 people, okay? Remember, these are not my opinions. I don't want anybody to believe me. I'm the researcher of the research. It's not my research. I'm bringing it to the light. That's why we give you the free medical research site to go see all this evidence. What did they say after 12 months? Now, in the study of the 48 studies, they pretty much looked at every diet. They named them: paleo, keto, Mediterranean, time-restricted eating, Cornish, lose weight for your blood type, zone diet, Atkins diet, Jenny Craig Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, on and on and on. When they looked at the weight loss results over 12 months, from the least amount of weight loss on any diet to the most amount of weight loss on any diet was 10 ounces in a year. There was 16 pounds weight loss in a year, and 40% of what they lost was lean muscle mass. Those are just that's the scientific evidence. But let's look at another one. Here's New England Journal of Medicine 12-month study on lowering calories. Again, most diets. And a group who did time-restricted eating, where you don't eat for 16 hours, eat for 8. So they said, after 12 months, those on a calorie-restricted diet lost in a year 16 pounds. Those doing the time-restricted eating did even worse. They lost 12.6 pounds. And then they go on to say both the calorie-restricted diet group and those doing time-restricted eating lost up to 40% of their lean muscle mass. That's New England Journal of Medicine. So, again, I do this all the time, and people want to come on and they want to get in a big argument with me for what. Look, I'm just making the research available to everybody so they can see it for free. If you think, like, for example, if you go to our website, we're not going to contact you. We don't have to do that. We have this medical proof on our side because peer-reviewed studies are what? They're irrefutable evidence. They've already been researched. Peer-reviewed study means the journal, let's say the Nature Communications, probably the #1 journal in the world. You submit your study like they did, these researchers who we write about in my books, submitted their work to the Nature Communications. Nature Communications decides if they're going to publish that, they don't review it other than to think if it's worthy for publishing. But their goal is to publish it and be neutral. So if they send it out to other, that's what peer review means. It goes out to other like medical doctors and researchers around the world who have one job, and that's to discredit what you're claiming. And if they come back and prove that what you're saying is not accurate, they'll publish that. Isn't it strange that none of these supplement companies, no diet on their own, has ever commissioned a peer-reviewed human trial study? Well, if your stuff, whatever you're promoting, was that good, you'd want a peer-reviewed human trial study. No drug ever gets approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. And even sometimes we all know they get that wrong. But thank goodness we have that safeguard. It's not done on mice or rats or in a petri dish. It's done on human beings. That's why I don't want to take a drug that hasn't been put through a peer-reviewed human trial study. But it's up to all of you. Again, you don't have to listen to us. You can say, oh, this is boring. I don't want to listen. Fine. Then go listen to the other influencers on all these social media platforms and see what they're telling you. But I've never seen one with any medical proof. They give you great opinions. They've got before and after pictures. I won't even post the before and afters because I'd be banned. No, I mean, the social media people would say that we're making it up. We didn't Photoshop anything. You go to the website, what are you going to see? First of all, you're going to see the studies are there, both of traditional diets, studies that are there, New England Journal of Medicine, Journal of the American Medical Association, et cetera, and the studies on this new protocol called R2M, stands for Race to Maintenance. But imagine the medical proof. Men and women losing as much weight in a week as 7 days. Most women lose a whole dress size in 7 days. What? Yeah. Men lose 2, 3, 4 inches off their waist in 7 days. and they lose as much weight. I just told you that the major diet analysis, people lost 16 pounds in a year in these protocols. Men and women with no exercise lost 16 pounds in a month with no loss of water, and instead of losing that precious lean muscle mass, which I shared with you on all the studies, that's what's happening. They gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. Aren't you a little bit curious? Or are you going to let your skepticism hold you back? It doesn't matter what you think about me. Science doesn't care. Only thing science cares about is the proof, are the facts, not the hype, not the hyperbole. So whatever opinion you might have of me or not have of me, that's immaterial. The science stands on its own. And these studies, the researchers say they're going to stand the test of time because they've already gotten calls from the top obesity medical in the whole world looking at saying these studies they're going to obsolete every diet that's out there. And imagine you can do the first 30 days, 60% of what you're going to spend is 100% money back guarantee, and you get a free coach. It's up to you, of course. Let me see. Let's see. Part of it is, I'm very familiar with Walter Longo. He's done some good work, but it's not this, right? I've been taking perfect amino body. Yeah, and listen, believe it or not, user 863, I recommend perfect aminos, but they're not enough. You understand? You're not getting the 70 trace minerals. You're not getting natural sourced vitamins, okay? And again, you're not detoxing your body. And I like pure aminos, okay? Yeah, I understand, Blondie. Exactly. Okay, Blondie, this isn't about calories. I'm doing 25 calories a day and losing toxic fat. Right, exactly. 8,500 calories a week was the study claim. I'm not sure about that, Blondie. Are you talking about Lango's claim? I'm not sure about that. So I don't want to be misstating anything. Okay. Let's see. Okay, answered the question about the mom with the son with the autoimmune disorder. So let's see. Okay, for details and to schedule free. Yeah. So in closing, because gosh, I can't believe it's been almost 2 hours, and I appreciate any of you that have hung in there with me. So in closing, look, there's the website, the New Health Conversation. When you go there, okay, nobody will contact you. There's nothing for sale. My books are not for sale on that website. The only thing on there is the medical proof. And if you like what you see, you can then scroll down to the bottom. It says free, sign up for a free personal consultation. Lest you be scared that we're going to twist your... Look, here's the thing. Look at everything on the medical... Don't sign up for a free consultation if you're not really serious about changing your life. Because we're not going to try and sell you. We're not going to try and convince you. But if you really... The reason we do the personal consultation, we don't know anything about you. Like we just had someone that said, they got a son with an autoimmune disease. Well, I'm going to probably hook him up with one of our doctors who's one of our coaches, believe it or not. We're not fooling around here. This isn't about a pig in a poke. This isn't about selling a bunch of stuff. That has nothing to do with it. So the coaches are there to support and educate you. And it's a free consult. And by the way, if you decide to do it, that person who interviews you will also be your coach. So it's not some random, and we do a Zoom and they screen share with you and go over everything with you. There's nothing to hide. Why would we hide medical proof? That doesn't make any sense. So I'm so late. What's the link? Okay, Tracy, I'm going to write. You see it right there, Tracy? The New Health Conversation. Well, user 863, it's really not detox supplements. That's not, because again, there's a big misnomer out there that people are telling you, well, you take this and you detox. It's, you have to assist your own body in detoxification. There's nothing out there that's been proved to well, if you do a colon cleanse, this has nothing to do with that. You're basically, with those colon cleanses are like sand going through and they're scrubbing out the matter that's impacted inside of your colon. That's a whole different ball game, okay? That's why we want you to do a free consultation, because otherwise you're making up in your head what you think this might be. Despite, if you go to the website, you'll see there's a 20 minutes explanation of exactly what they did. You'll see there's an interview, though. Here's the best thing. There's an interview with the #1 nutritional researcher, and he's a physiologist. In case you don't know, a physiologist, they deal with all your organs and hormones inside you, how they all interact. So it's not just about nutrition. It's about, okay, how does it impact inside the body? Because in the studies, keep in mind, they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis. What did they find? In 30 days, people's blood sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol, triglycerides, all came down dramatically in 30 days. Inflammation, which all of us have, it's the underlying cause of every disease out there, it came down 25% in 30 days. In 30 days. And people lost, they did. I mean, I keep saying it, but it's so foreign to people. The people, men and women with no exercise, lost as much weight in the first 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet they've ever been on. They lost as much weight in 30 days as in a year of any diet with no loss of water. And instead of losing lean muscle, they gained 6 to 9% in muscle. But again, that wasn't the most important thing. So back to the supplements for detox. What they did through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, they proved medically that this was removing herbicides, pesticides, Scotch-Guard, Teflon, and plastics from the body. But it was the body doing it, not some supplement. Because it was a combination of, people consume 40% of the food from the grocery store and 60% these specialized foods from around the world that contain things that are no longer in any great quantity in our food, like minerals. They're called trace ionic minerals. In the best organic, you get 20 trace ionic minerals. We need 70. The researchers found a source has all 70 minerals. They also found a source that had a 600% increase in the absorption of amino acids in protein. And they ended up finding natural vitamins, not synthetic. That's why this worked, because those things empowered our own body to detox. For example, that was a great question that you put up here. I don't, Tracy, I'm not involved in that. What are they eating? Okay, they're eating, no, Tracy, it's not something that insurance pays for. It's food. It's like 40% of your food from the grocery store and 5% these foods from around the world. So let me address the detox part, okay? Every night when we all slept, as long as we didn't eat too late, once we go to sleep, the body suspends digestion. When that happens, the body automatically starts detoxing every night. There's a term for it. It's called autophagy. It's a fancy name. So I call it taking the trash out. The body every night gets rid of all the debris, the excess, the cells that have died off, et cetera. So what the researchers basically did, they figured out, 5 days a week it's protein pacing, where you're having proteins plus fats, carbs, fruit, et cetera. Normal eating, but only 40% of the food you're consuming is from your grocery store. The other 60% from these 5 foods. Then on intermittent fasting days, no food from the grocery store, and only 4 of the 5 foods. The reason that they did that, these foods have tremendous amount of nutrition, essentially liquid, that don't impact the digestion of food very much. So that mechanism gets turned on, and they have the proof that they did it. So 2 days, and this is just until you get to your goal. That's why it's called R2M, race to maintenance. Once you get to your goal, then you're basically doing 7 days a week of protein pacing, and then maybe once every couple months you do the 48-hour intermittent nutritional fasting to detox your body. So hopefully that makes sense. But this is, again, why it's really difficult for me on TikTok to try and explain in great detail. And I'm not trying to be evasive. You'll see if you go there, then you'll go, oh, now I get it. Now I am. Because I always ask people, do you think there's any way that I could have explained what you now know? Because we need your input. What if you want to gain weight? What if you're an athlete? We have kids as young as 2 and people 90 doing this. We have a gentleman with a heart transplant, people with kidney transplants. This is not intended to treat, diagnose, make any medical claims at all, period. We're not doing that. But we're showing you what this was proven medically to do what? Improve our quality of life potential. I mean, there were diabetics and people with high blood pressure monitored by medical doctors. With their medical doctors in a month, people in many cases were able to, with the help of their doctors, of course, they were able to reduce their medicine by 50% in 30 days. For some of you, would that be a bonus? We're not against drugs. We're saying this works in conjunction with, not as a substitute for. That's very important that you understand that. Okay? For example, there are people on the shots. And I talked about that earlier. I'm not against the shots. It's helping diabetics and it's helping people that are morbidly obese. But the downfall is this. New England Journal of Medicine did a 68-week study, 68 weeks, a year and 4 months. The average weight loss in that time was 32 pounds in 68 weeks. But right in the study, it said that 40% of what they lost was lean muscle mass. So guess what? We have people on the shot that are doing, we have a version of this that they can do with the shot to do what? To make sure they don't lose lean muscle mass. So we're working in conjunction with them. We're not opposed to them. Look, again, back to ABC. This study just came out. They're saying that by 2048, 100% of America is going to be overweight. How's that going to work? You realize we have an insulin shortage already. This whole thing is just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And what do we keep doing? We keep, we're rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic and thinking it's not going to sink. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And I'm not saying that any of the approaches that you're putting up here are bad. Oh, T, what are they eating? Well, like I said, 40% of their food comes from the grocery store, and 50% comes from these 5 food groups from around the world that are, it's a little bit hard to explain. I know everybody thinks I'm being evasive. I'm not being evasive, but that's why we suggest you sign up for a free consultation. And like I told all of you, 60% of the food you're going to purchase from these fulfillment companies, if for any reason in the first 30 days you're unhappy, it didn't work, no excuse needed, they'll refund all your money and even pay return shipping. Do you think that they could do that if it didn't work? And nothing's 100%, of course. That would be completely irresponsible on my part to even say that. So in closing, what I would invite any of you that are still here is to go to the website. You can see it up there, halfway up, the New Health Conversation. I'll type it in. There it is again, the New Health Conversation. You can see it. You can see it right there. And I hope that you will. Tracy, thank you for being on. User 861, Dan, T. Let's see, I think there's more people on here. Whoops, what happened now? Oh, there we go. So anyway, what I would suggest that any of you do, if you're really, really serious about this, go to the website. It's free. There's no push. There's nothing there to buy. There's just the medical proof, an interview with the #1 nutritional researcher, and he's a physiologist as well, who he and his team are the ones that did, 38 years of research on 150 different diets, basically. They're the ones that came up with this new protocol called R2M. No one's ever seen anything like this before. So you're welcome, Tracy. I hope you will go there and sign up for, at least go and see the information for yourself. Or T, you can go there and get the information, as well. And I'm just trying to figure out, there it is. I was trying to figure out I got so many comments and I'm sure I missed a lot of them. So, just joined. I said, thanks for sharing the information. Diabetic one is on the rise. You need your books on Audible. I'm not trying to sell books. Thank you very much. Someone said, sorry for the loss of my mom. And I apologize to everyone. I didn't even realize that I had all these comments that I wasn't responding to. So probably some of you thought, I know somebody commented and thought he's avoiding. I didn't even see the comments. Increase website. The website is the New Health Conversation. Rachel explaining, thank you. Bright side, then where can I get non-toxic food? You can't really. Where can we read the study? It's on the New Health Conversation. Just pay him for more info. No. JD Fusen, I don't know why you would say that. There's no paying me for more information. All the information is there for free, right? What specifically are we talking about? 7 new peer-reviewed human trial studies of a non-diet that men and women lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet, lost as much weight in a month as a year in any diet, lost no water and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. No, actually, KLK, thermodynamics does not apply to the human body. I'm very sorry about that. Thermodynamics applies to a closed circuit. The human body is not a closed circuit. So that thermodynamics, unfortunately, that's been completely debunked when it comes. And listen, Harvard Medical School said, stop counting calories. It has nothing to do about calorie deficit. Every diet analyzed with calorie deficit, people end up losing about 40% of their lean muscle. Okay? No, JD, you missed it about adding whole foods and protein to compensate for lean muscle mass. No, that's not true. Thanks for sharing. Okay. Shrink the adipose cells. What's the claim on increasing liposis? So how do we get rid of toxins? Again, go to the website, just joins. What do I have to do? I'm supposed to consume to get these results. Again, go to the website, the New Health Conversation. I'll put it on the very end here. Okay, going in circles. I've explained it about 5 different times, dude. It's called a half-life. The medications are broken down in water. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Is the program about drinking shakes? No, it's about drinking. It's about regular food, about 40%, and 60% are shakes and 4 other things. Freedom, yeah, it does to a bit, but the website is much better. What do you eat? I eat organic pretty much as I can. What are your credentials? Well, I've published 4 best-selling books with the top medical doctors probably in the world. I've done 20 shows on PBS. I've been interviewed on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America, and I have done over 1,500 live lectures all over the world at universities, at medical, at hospitals, etc. And I would tell you right away, I'm the researcher of the researchers, and I'm not the expert, but I became an expert on the expert. So again, and I apologize, I didn't see any of these messages. Okay. Okay. No, JD Fusen, concept, movement and diet. No, completely debunked. Did you not get her genes? Brightside. I don't know. So sorry for your loss. I want to McDougall Cam. I'm no longer vegan, but I lost 10 pounds in a week eating as much as I wanted. You should have your books on Audible. Oh, I believe you, but I want a solution. Okay, Brightside. I think I explained that several different times. Okay, conspiracy theorists that I am think they have been poisoned. Yeah, maybe true. Is this, that's the pitch. There's a pitch. Wild Branch, I already proved to you there's no pitch. Where did you post the website? Okay, I'm going to put the website up here one more time. Let me get to the bottom and make sure I've covered everybody. No, it was not pre-recorded. No, Sonic Age, you don't have to buy anything, and they're not supplements. Don't discredit this. This is a major scientific breakthrough. That's what you don't understand. It's backed by 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies. It's way beyond, way beyond. Okay, there's the website right there. You can see the New Health Conversation. Well, yeah, exactly. Brightside, if you could do that, that's wonderful. What do we think about Premier and other protein drinks? I think they have an absorption of about 5 to 8% out of 100. That's what I think. Is 100% the calorie amount. I'm not sure what that means. It's the chemical, yeah, chemicals in our food are increasing need for ATP, uncoupling, increasing lipase. Via how? It's sad we're at this point and can't trust our food. With 100% believe you answer the physio question just for fun. I'm not sure what you were asking me. So what do we do to rid ourselves? Okay, what's going on? So what do we do instead of counting calories? Again, for all of you, you can go to the website. It's free. The New Health Conversation. I'm going to put it up there one last time. This is what is it? We won't listen. Okay, hopefully, Mackenzie, Scott, I told you what it was. Yeah, I did. I just went over that, FAM 1990. What is the solution? Again, Tawny, I went over that. He's just going on and not telling us literally anything about actually losing. That, fam, that's not true. You didn't listen to me then, okay? So far, this sounds like an old Justin Trudeau. No, Jared, here's the difference. Justin Trudeau went to prison for making claims because he had no peer-reviewed human trial evidence. None. Zero. The difference now is we have 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies, irrefutable. I read his books and, you know, I'm not saying some of what he was talking about, but most of it was made up, and that's why he ended up in federal prison, okay? I don't want to end up in federal prison. That's why I don't give you opinions. I give you facts, okay? Not in this case. The people that did these studies are not analyzing drugs. No, Tawny, I don't know why you keep thinking it's a supplement. See, that's where the brain goes because that's what we're used to. This is a whole different approach. This is a completely different way of consuming food. These are not supplements. This is part regular food and part these 5 foods that come from all over the world. Let's see. No, it's not pre-recorded. So what's in it? What is it, buddy? Danny, again, I went over that. So how do we find out about this program where we can buy? I don't want you to buy my books, Christine. Please go to the website. It's free. Everything is there for you. The new health, I think the fasting with vitamins. How else can you lose so fast? Again, Jared, you need to go to the website and see the interview with the #1 nutritional researcher in the world, not me, that tells you. Tori D, I'm telling you nothing. Have you got something where you can lose as much weight in 7 days safely as 8 weeks of any diet? Do you have anything where you can lose as much weight in a month as a year of diets without losing any water and gaining lean muscle mass? Really? Go for it. Good luck. Okay. Well, fam, I'm very sorry. I just had so many comments. He did earlier. Line is the best amino acid. Lysine is the best amino acid. I lost 40 pounds. Thank you. How do you get started? Peter Greenlaw is 100% legit. How does he not know to say the website? What a mess. I can't. What do you mean not say the website, fam? What are you talking about? I typed it up there about 10 different times, right? Okay. Yeah. No, you get Dr. Left. We proved that before. You get access to the website for free. You don't have to call anybody. Okay. I just said I lost 40 pounds on your program. I'm supporting your program, guys. I truly lost 40 pounds. The paper on his website claims 400 calories a day, 2 days a week, and was one study. No, you're wrong. There's actually, Blondie, you're completely wrong. You don't understand. Again, see, you're focused on calories. You know nothing about nutritional density, obviously. So you're completely wrong. It has nothing to do with that. Oh, Dr. Lefthook, that's great. What is the website again? So 2 low-calorie days. No, again, Blondie, it's not low-calorie days. That's where you've got to get it right. No, it's not calorie restriction. It's not. Calories mean nothing to the body. The Wiley paper on your study. People do the program. I'm healthy and lost 40 pounds. Wow, so many comments. I'm sorry, everybody. I didn't even realize these were. There must be well over 100 comments or more, okay? So let me get to the bottom. And let me give you the website, okay? I don't know why this wasn't coming up as I was going through. Okay, so twist it. Here you go. The new health. So here's what I would say to all of you. And I support your skepticism. I'm not mad at you. That'd be stupid on my part. All we're saying is, look, we have irrefutable medical evidence. If you think you want to argue with a peer-reviewed human trial study in some of the biggest medical journals in the world, go for it. See, you're still trying to put this in a box. You're still trying to equate this somehow to lowering calories. If I taught you anything, in this book we prove the enemy is not calories. It's what's in the calorie. So when you say things like calorie deficit, no, it has nothing to do with the calories. The researchers figured out how to reduce the quantity of food without reducing the quantity of nutrition. It's not supplements. That's what you have to understand. And actually, there's a synergism. So on protein pacing days, part of that nutrition, which you already digested the day before, your body uses. It's called protein partitioning, meaning storing the excess nutrition that you can't use on a protein pacing day on those intermittent nutritional fasting days. So I love your feedback, but it's wrong. Because again, you're trying to figure out something you know nothing about. You're projecting, that's great. But the thing we're struggling with, this is so far advanced to anything on the planet. Again, women lose a dress size in 7 days. They really do lose as much weight in a week as 8 weeks of any diet they've ever, and most of them have never lost that much weight in a month or 2 months or 3 months. We already proved that the men and women in this, they lost as much weight in a month as a year on any diet without the loss of water and without the loss of lean muscle mass. They gained 6 to 9% lean muscle. What about all the other medical benefits? Lowered blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, and inflammation in 30 days. No diet has ever been shown to reduce Inflammation. They proved that inflammation went down 25% in 30 days. Hunger went down 41% in a month. People's desire to eat went down 40% in a month. Because why? Because it wasn't about how much food they were consuming. It was about this massive amount of nutrition, which really came only 40% from regular food and 60% from these foods from around the world. I would just invite all of you to go to, okay, hold on. Let me just explain this. The new health. Hold on. I want to put the website up there again. Sorry. The medical explanations that you probably want, I don't want you necessarily to believe me, although I know what they are. If you go to the website, there's an interview, the new health I still spelled it wrong. Is that right? Conversation. Okay, let me put it up there for you. Okay. The new health conversation. Okay, so I just put the website up for the new health conversation. I've been on for over 2 hours, so I need to take a break. I'm going to do another one maybe in an hour or so, one of these live podcasts. But let me deal with just some of the last questions on here. Yeah, exactly, Skel. That's what I wrote about in my best-selling book, Why Diets Are Failing Us. By the way, all 4 books I wrote with medical doctors. I've done 20 shows on people. I'm a researcher. I spent 21 years of my life doing this, and it paid off. Storing the nutrition. It's called nutritional partitioning. Again, if you go to the website, I don't want you to believe me, but you'll learn from the number one. Not only are they the top nutritional researchers in the world, but also physiology, which is even more important, as you know, is the study of what is actually happening inside the body. Very important. But this is revolutionary, groundbreaking. 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies. So the interview is with the person who did the studies, the before and afters, the results, and there's even a 20-minute breakthrough of exactly what they did, only because I'm running out of time. Because like I said, I've been on for over 2 hours already. Really? Maria? So you don't believe in peer-reviewed human trial studies? You're full of it, okay? You know nothing then. For you even to say that, it's ridiculous. Okay, then I know you really don't know anything, okay? So when you say that, a peer-reviewed human trial study, there's nothing higher in medical research. Are you smarter than the top medical journals in the world who publish these studies? Really? Are you? Great. Go for it. Be part of the 80% of people in this country that are overweight, 50% are obese, and you have toxins throughout your body whether you know it or not. Good luck. Oh my goodness, skeleton. Well then, really? Human trial peer-reviewed studies, that's as high as you can go. So go do whatever you want to do, whatever your name is there. Go for it. You don't know what you're talking about, but that's okay. I don't fault you for that. I mean, you really, it's just that it's ridiculous that people even waste their time to do this kind of stuff. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, so for all of you out there that really want a real solution that's backed by real true peer-reviewed human trial studies, I mean, that's what they're called, okay? So any of you can go to the website for free. I'm putting it up there one last time before I have to stop. Yeah, Atrocious, that's about enough for you for today. Go have a wonderful rest of your day. I mean, again, you show me any diet out there with any studies at all that are peer reviewed, it doesn't exist. And like I said, when you're published in they got published in the Nature Communications, #1 journal in the world, period, end of the story. Are you a nutritional researcher? What are your credentials? You know, that's it. Nina Dull Brewing. I lost 60 pounds in 4 months. This is true. Wonderful. So anyway, In wrapping this up, one last time, I'm going to put the website up there one last time. And for those of you that don't want to lose weight and get healthy, then I guess don't go to the website. But if you go there, there's nothing on there to buy. There's no books to buy, anything. It's all based on medical proof. You can see an interview with the #1 nutritional researcher and physiologist in the world. You don't have to believe me. You can argue with me all day long. That doesn't change the facts. Science is science. The proof is the proof. It'd be one thing if it was published in one medical journal, but when you're published in 7 of the biggest medical journals out there, it's pretty hard to argue with that. But people want to do that anyway because they really believe their opinions. And then you look around and 80% of America's overweight, 50% are obese, 50% are pre-diabetic. And ABC just comes out and says by 2048, close to 100% of America is going to be overweight. So keep listening to these people that give you the solution about eat whole foods, do organic, 3 meals a day, whatever it is. It's not working. It's just not working. Okay? So you all see it right there, the new health conversation. I hope you... Okay, so again, Doom, I'm going to put it up there for you. You want to go to this website. I'm going to send it to you right now. You'll see it there. The new health conversation. It's free to go there. What's there is the medical proof. There's an interview with the #1 nutritional researcher in the world who did the research. And the point being that if you like what you see, because there's nothing to buy there, then there's a button at the bottom that says sign up for free personal consultation. If you want to do that, you'll get to do a free consultation with one of our coaches, someone who's done the protocol, has been trained to answer all your questions. And you can kind of go from there, But like I've been saying, imagine being able to lose much weight in a month as a urinary diet without the loss of lean muscle or water, and lowering blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, all in 30 days, lowering inflammation by 30% in a month, and in 8 weeks, lowering visceral fat by 33% in 8 weeks. So again, for the rest of you, yeah, that fajitas, that's one of the worst things you could ever do, by the way, is 1 meal a day. It absolutely has been disproven. So at any rate, I hope that you will take the time to go there. It's free to go there. There's nothing to make up. There's nothing there, okay? So I'm going to bid all of you adieu for right now. And like I said, I'll probably do another one in the next hour or two, and we'll just kind of go from there. So I hope this has been useful to most of you, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Oh, my God.